All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the show. Today is Saturday, January 31st, 2026. You are now watching Permission to Exist. I am your host, Permission to Exist, also known as PTE. Happy New Year to you guys because we have not spoken since late last year. And as the chat already says, whew, what a month. Oh my goodness. Y'all, I don't know where to start. I can tell you right up front that this is going to be one of those streams that kind of wanders all over the place. We're going to go down multiple rabbit holes because there's so much going on and everything is also very connected to each other. So it's hard to just isolate one topic and keep that isolated, then move to another one. Like, oh my goodness. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you all. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hello to my channel members. Oh man, where do I even begin, you guys? We're gonna begin in the theoretical, and then we'll talk about the examples as they come in. I have started a Q&A, and I do see that some of you have already responded to that, so thank you. And we will touch on everything you guys have mentioned so far in your Q&A, and a lot of it will probably come up on its own as we just keep talking to each other. It's very cold, by the way, for those of us, I think on the East Coast mostly, and some in the middle, but I think it's mostly East Coast. I think it's freezing all the way down to Florida. And we have gotten snow flurries today, so that's been interesting, but none of it is sticking, not yet anyway. But it's supposed to go to 18 degrees tonight, if my weather app is correct. I said, "Oh my God, I don't want to see my electricity bill next month." I think I'm just going to weep because I'm crying for the one that just passed and it wasn't even that bad. But this one, I'm just, oh God, I don't even want to see it. I feel like when weather events come through, I feel like that's partially what insurance should be for. Like, hey, your electricity bill is going to spike and it's not your fault because I don't know, you don't want to freeze, or when it's real hot, you don't want to have like a heat stroke at home. That's kind of not your fault. So here's $500 from your insurance premium or something to help cover the electricity bill. Or I don't know, the electric companies that gouge us routinely could also cut us a break. What are you doing with all this money that we pay you every month? Y'all don't have a reserve for emergencies? Nah, we just got to cover it. Cover it or freeze. So, anyway, stay warm out there, you guys. I've been trying. I've been doing my best, but it is hard. These houses do not heat very well. Anyway, different topic, different show. Welcome everyone to the chat. Where do we start? Tonight's live stream, this is really covering January 2026, but I think the best way to describe everything that's going on in at least our country right now, but really the world, but our country is democracy on fire. Our empire is collapsing in real time, you guys. Like, it doesn't probably seem that way because we're in it right now. But if we live to be old, and I do mean if, fooling around with these people, if we live to be old, we'll look back at we'll be the generation that survived the collapse of the American empire. And I'm being so serious. I'm being so serious. And it's like, here's the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about. I feel like everything that's going on right now is absolutely everything that I've been talking about on this channel from day one. From day one. This is what my entire channel is about. And we're always talking about the same thing in different using different examples. So different real world examples in the news, politics, entertainment, real life. You know what I mean? Um, we cover we're circling the same thing. And I feel like that thing has grown and it has finally reached it's fully grown now. It's fully matured, this whole narcissism thing. And it's far worse than we could have ever imagined. It's worse than we thought. And it is the reason that we're seeing these collapses all over the place. We're going to talk about it all. But I feel like this is what I've been warning about. This is what I've been trying to say. This is what I've been trying to prevent. While everyone else is over here talking about, oh, narcissists are just obsessed with themselves and they love to stare in the mirror. I'm like, nah, this is a disease that will rot every institution that it touches. And it has finally rotted out the American institution. It's been doing it all along. Like when I'm online and I'm on social media and people are like, "Can anyone pinpoint the exact moment this all went wrong?" I'm like, "It's been going wrong." Some people are like, "Oh, this all happened in 2020 when, the global thing happened." No, baby doll. This has been going on before the global cough, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what we're allowed to say anymore. This has been going on long before that. This is what we've been talking about, you guys. If you're new to the channel, I highly recommend going back on my channel. My channel is almost 10 years old. It'll be 10 years old in June, and I'm trying to figure out how we're going to celebrate that. If the internet is still on by then. If we still have access to the internet and if we're actually still allowed to use the internet by June of this year, we'll do something special to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the channel, okay? But you should go back in time on this channel and just watch old videos, and you will see that everything I've been discussing, everything that we've been discussing, and everything I've been warning about has finally come to its peak. This is where we were trying to avoid getting to, but in a way, it was almost inevitable. And I kind of have said that too before. So anyway, there's so much going on. It's very scary, but at the same time, for me, I'm like, it's going to implode on itself. And that's why I keep saying, if the internet is on, if we live to be old, because if everything that is coming out is true about these people, please understand that they will blow the whole world up before they ever take accountability for what they've done. They will. Somebody on Twitter said Elon is going to turn Twitter off. He probably is, actually. He probably is going to turn it off. And guess what else? As more information is released from these files, all the other major platforms are going to turn off too, probably including YouTube, Google, what else? Instagram, Facebook, they're all going to get turned off because their worst nightmare has come true, which is we started talking to each other and sharing information with each other. It's almost like the Tower of Babylon in a way. So the internet, our hyper communication, our ability to communicate with each other, to document things in real time and post them on the internet for other people to see in real time, that is their Tower of Babylon. And it's become problematic for them because it's harder and harder for them to lie. As a matter of fact, I saw a really good tweet on Twitter earlier today. Let me see where it is. I want to read it to you guys. Here it is right here. So the poster's name is Sony Thong at NXT888. They said, "You are watching an empire that has run out of myths. It cannot promise prosperity. It cannot promise safety. It cannot promise freedom. All it can promise is that whatever happens next will be your fault because you did not vote correctly, because you protested incorrectly, and because you dared to notice the pattern." See, their propaganda machine has expired. People know that they're lying now. People can tell. People can see through all the lies now. You understand? So what are they going to do? They're going to fold it, basically. That's what I predict. Unless the people fight back in a way that they're not accustomed to. And I can't even really go into that because, again, I don't know what I can say, which leads me to the next thing I wanted to discuss, right? So I don't know how many of you are tracking and following everything regarding the Epstein files, the release of the Epstein files, things of that nature. Obviously, I have to say alleged just for my own protection and safety. But if any of this stuff is true, isn't it ironic that we, the people, are under such extreme censorship? We can't say certain words on the internet and social media. We can't use curse words really. I mean, you kind of can, but then you get like suppressed. You know, we can't really curse. We can't discuss certain topics without being censored or suppressed in the algorithm. We're under so much censorship. We're treated like children, really. And I just find that so ironic for the people who are accused of crimes against children that are so horrific. I think it goes beyond our imagination. How ironic that you want to try to censor and purify everything and censor our language and what we say and what we're allowed to discuss and talk about, but you all are accused of high crimes and misdemeanors against children. Isn't that weird? Don't y'all think that's so weird? Like, it is the most bizarre paradox to me. Like, like I can't use foul language. You can't use foul language. We have to code our language when we're talking about real issues that are impacting real people. We have to speak in code in order to clear the censorship. But the very people who allegedly own these platforms are allegedly affiliated and connected with some of the worst crimes against children in history. I just think that's so bizarre and strange, don't you? So anyway, before I get into like the actual like news and things that's been going on and answering you all's Q&A as well, there is a Q&A. Please add your questions and topics to that and I will address them as the show goes on, but oh man. Okay, how do I break this down? So again, I'm referencing the all the file releases, the things that we're learning from these various releases of these alleged files and the people who are in them, the alleged perpetrators within the files. And all I can think to myself is we did get a trickle down economy, but it trickled down in the worst way, right? And I'm not sure, I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, was it Reagan who started the whole trickle down economy thing? Is that where it came from? Whoever started it. Oh, it trickled down, but it trickled down in the worst way. Because when you think about what's being alleged and what these people are being accused of, deep perversion, um, horrific assaults, and some alleged unalivings in these files, right? And then you think about our society, right? Our society, especially in America, is one of the most violent societies I think the planet has ever seen, right? Our movies, violent, TV shows, violent, music, violent, real life, violent. Where are they getting all this violence from? Where are they getting it from? Think about it. Because everything is owned, right? And everything trickles up in terms of ownership. Everything's owned. And if the people at the top, the people who are being alleged to be involved in all these things, are into some really deep, wicked, perverted things, well, then that trickles down to the businesses that they own. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see? And so then the businesses that they own push out really wicked, violent stuff, normalize it, right? And then that gets pushed down to society, right? Society consumes it. And then a huge portion of society emulates what they see in these movies, TV shows, video games, music, blah, 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 blah. A huge portion of society copies that and lives it out in real life. It is trickling down in the worst way. Then when we think about crimes against women, and then, okay, let's trickle up. What are we dealing with here at the ground level? We're dealing with a large number of men who have podcasts who are pushing out propaganda like women lose their value at age 25. Get a young woman who hasn't been, contaminated by society, or fly overseas and get a foreign woman who, is just grateful to have an American man by her side taking care of her. Where are they getting that from? According to the files, they're getting it from the top because in the files, the alleged files, people are literally typing in emails, 25 is too old. So if your business owners, your politicians are into super young girls and young women and some underage women, then they're going to and they own all the businesses. That gets pushed down. Then you have media companies like all these different streaming platforms, including YouTube, who are perfectly fine with that content going out on the airwaves day in and day out, infecting the minds of real young men to the extent that I have an entire series about how dangerous these men have become. Where are they getting that from? They're getting it from their investors and business owners at the highest level who have already normalized it. That's normal for them. That's normal. That's why all this is so shocking to everybody. Because for these people, the people who are coming out in these files, allegedly, that's normal life for them. So their normal perversion eventually trickles down and becomes normal for society because the ones at the highest levels have condoned it. That's why this stuff is allowed to play on YouTube and all these other streaming platforms, and nobody gets in trouble for it. Occasionally they get their channels taken down, and usually that's when they've gone to the absolute extreme, and it's very hard for them to even get banned for that. But they have to really, really take it to the absolute extreme, and then they'll finally get banned. But after how much damage has been done, do you understand? But what I'm trying to illustrate for you is why it's allowed to happen in the first place. Because the owners of all this stuff, allegedly, that's a normal Saturday for them. Yes, chat says their normal becomes normalized for us average folks, right? And most of us, if you're healthy and normal in the head, are horrified by what you hear, but that's normal for them. So it's part of the reason all these people keep getting caught up, because they don't even realize that it has reached abnormal levels. They don't even consider it weird or gross or strange or anything. That's normal for them. That's a fun party for them. So anyway, it's all catching up to them finally, though. So moving on to another hot topic. I don't know if you all are aware that the manosphere is completely collapsing. And it's beautiful, and it's partially because of all this stuff, right? Because people are starting to see, wait a minute, these grown men, these men in their 40s or 50s, are sitting here telling young men in their 20s and below, that you need to get with 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds, and I don't deal with women my age. They're run through and washed up, and they've hit the wall, and blah 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 blah. Oh wow, so it sounds like you like children. Hey, look, the phone confirmed it for me. Confirmation. Sounds like you like kids. Where are you getting that from? So anyway, people are starting to see, like, all their masks have slipped. They're starting to see through the propaganda. I think some of them for the first time. Most of us have been sitting back just waiting, but the rest of them are starting to see, wow, you guys support an alleged pedophile president. You support alleged child traffickers. Huh. And then you're telling me that I need to go try to find high school age girls. Why? So I can end up in some files later on in my life? Like, I think they're starting to see how they've been led astray. And this goes back to something that I've said many, many, many times before, which is men are very easily led. A lot of them are. Most men are easily led. And lately on social media, they've been discussing how a lot of men are very submissive to males. They are always screaming and hollering about how they want a woman to submit. Well, that's probably because they spend their whole entire life submitting to other males, and they love it. That's the whole thing. They love submitting to males. They love submitting to men who are more powerful than them. They love it. So to them, they already submit to somebody, which is another man. So you, as a woman, better submit to me. That's kind of how their brain works. And again, if you find yourself in the presence of someone who thinks that simplistically, you need to depart from their presence ASAP. Okay. but they're very easily led. So anyway, um, what brought about the collapse is very interesting. So it's so funny. It's so funny. So Andrew Tate, his brother, Nick Fuentes, some guy called Clavicular, and then a couple of other people whose name I don't know, got together and went to a club. And no, I'm not telling you the beginning of a knock knock joke. They got together and went to the club, right? Which was hilarious all by itself. But they decided to record themselves playing a banned Kanye West song that we're not allowed to really say the name of either. So I'll call it HH, right? And it's praising Adolf Hitler and all that. And so they played that in the van on the way to the club, and then they played it in the club, right? And you have to go look it all up to see the whole timeline. But what makes it so funny is that all these guys are sitting here like claiming to be Nazis, but the Nazis would have killed them all of them. Andrew Tate and his brother are mixed. Sneeko was another one. Sneeko is mixed. He's Haitian and something, Filipino, I think. Um, Nick Nick Fuentes is mixed. He's Mexican and I'm not sure what else. I guess American white. I'm not sure. Um, I think they said the only one he wouldn't have killed is Clavicular, but allegedly Clavicular has made himself infertile because he's 19 years old and he took too much testosterone, and apparently he's made himself infertile as a result. So Hitler would have killed him too because he wanted pure Aryan blood and he wanted healthy Aryans. He didn't want an infertile Aryan representing him. So he would have killed them all. That's the irony. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's so weird. And like, people have just been roasting them and dragging them for weeks now because of it. So if you've missed it, you're missing out on some real entertainment. But I say all that to say that it's part of this overall collapse. It's part of the collapse of this sick ideology that's fueled by the same thing. It the chat says without a second thought, gone. Hitler would have sent him right to wherever he was sending everybody. He would have sent him right over there if he didn't kill him on the spot. But it's part of this general collapse. People are starting to see it. And here's part of the reason why. And we've discussed this in the past on this channel also. It's because narcissists cannot help but run the same pattern over and over and over and over again. They're not creative. They're not original. They're not strategic. They just double down on the same thing over and over and over again. And that is one of the most beautiful things about these sick, twisted people, is that once you pick up the pattern, you see it and you can't unsee it. And thankfully, the narcissist is willing to repeat that pattern for you over and over and over again. So eventually you see it and there's no denying it. So, and this is what is happening. It's what's happening in this manosphere collapse. It's what's happening in the collapse of the American empire. People are starting to see through it. They are finally starting to see through it. Now, some of you I'll never forgive, unfortunately. And here's why. I was thinking about this the other day. Some of you I'll never be able to forgive. And the reason is because you've actually stolen my youth and the youth of all the millennials who are in my same age bracket. And let's not even get on Gen Z. Gen Z might actually have a chance, though. If this thing fully collapses and we're able to rebuild it, they might have a chance. But the millennials, you stole our youth. And Gen X, you should be pissed off too, because they basically stole your youth too. Now, some would argue that I'm still young, and I mean, I feel young, but at the same time, it's like the things that I should have been able to do easily in my mid 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, I had to literally fight for. I had to fight for my life. I had to struggle against man-made systems, man-made policies, man-made practices, pure, uncut, unchecked narcissists who clearly were reporting to alleged high-level criminal pedophiles. This is what we've been battling against, and this is what you've been voting for. You've been voting for the fight. You've been voting for us to struggle. So now I'm in my early 40s and I'm finally starting to achieve some of the adult things that I've been trying to achieve my whole young adult life. And hopefully I'll be able to retire someday, but it's uncertain thanks to the way you all have voted, thanks to the people that you've put in power, thanks to the people that you've supported, who have been so blatant with their narcissism and their hatred and their arrogance, and you called it okay. And you continue to support it with everything that you had. You stole my youth from me. I will never forgive you for that. You stole your own youth, you idiot. I'll never forgive you for that. You're so hateful that you'll take down the whole ship if it means punishing some imaginary group in your head. You're sick, sick people. I'll never forgive you for that. And I'm talking to the people who are like, I don't know, I was just caught up and I just didn't trust Kamala and Hillary and the emails and blah, blah. Fuck you. Like no. I'll never forgive you for that. I'll never forgive you for not using your brain. I'll never forgive you. And the reason is because we came up through the same school system. We were exposed to the exact same knowledge, the exact same materials. We went to the same colleges. We took the same tests. We studied the same books. It was all the same. So how did you end up over there and I ended up over here? Like, there's just no excuse for it for me. So some of you I'll never forgive, ever. But there are some who, I don't know. I have to think about that statement. Some of you I'll never forgive. I'll just put it that way. But what I will say is that some of them are finally starting to wake up. And it says a lot about what it takes for that to happen. So for example, now we're getting into news stories. For example, the death of Renee Good woke some of them up because they realized, wait a minute, this woman didn't ram this officer. She didn't have a gun. She talked back to him and he killed her. Some of them that woke them up. But you know what really woke them up? Alex Preddy is what really woke them up. And it's sad that it took that much. It took it going that far for them to finally realize, wait a second, hold on. And to see how these folks came out here and lied on this man, oh, he was brandishing a weapon. And, you know, the officer feared for his life. The man was holding a camera. They pepper sprayed him, then proceeded to start beating him. Then they confiscated his gun off of his body. Then they shot him and killed him. And that is what finally woke some of them up, because then the propaganda machine starts, right? Oh, well, you can't take a firearm to a protest. Yes, you can. In America, you can. Yes, you can. Since when has that not been okay? The same people who walk into coffee shops with their AKs strapped to their back. The same people who stand on their front lawn brandishing firearms and whatnot, who send Christmas cards with them and all their kids holding a firearm to send out to the family in the local church. Well, excuse me? And they're starting to get it. And it's like, once they see through the lie, they can't deny it anymore. And it's starting to wake them up. They're starting to realize that, wait a second, this is not what we've been, this is not okay. You know, like, and again, the fact that it took that much for you to finally wake up, I mean, better late than never, but it's happening, y'all. Like, these people are willing to escalate it to the point where they are firing on American citizens for challenging their authority. And boy, does that feel familiar, doesn't it? That feels familiar. That feels like work. That feels like corporate, which is interesting, right? Because corporate is owned by businesses and investors and, very rich people who all like to party on a very specific island, allegedly. So, are you seeing how the ideology trickles down? But yeah, that feels like work. You see something wrong, you speak up, and you get fired upon by HR, by your manager, maybe by some of your coworkers. So the message is shut up or risk losing it all. That's the embedded message in everything that we've been going up against, isn't it? Shut up or risk losing everything. Everything. Okay? So, man, it's all so deep. A couple years ago, I did a live recording of the reading of 1984. And I highly recommend that you all go listen to it again or go read the book yourself. You need to. There's a reason that I devoted that much time to that. And it's so important. It was so prophetic. Honestly, you need to go listen to it. It's very long, so you might want to listen to it in different settings or just speed it up. And also, if you do go listen to it, know that like the first couple hours, there's a lot of mistakes because I couldn't edit them out. Long story, very complicated, but know that it smooths out after that. So if you can tolerate that, it's worth it. And I might redo it. It might be worth redoing and re-uploading. So anyway, I just won't do it live. I'll just record it on my own. Anyway, on top of American citizens getting murdered by masked, armed ICE agents, you have reporters getting arrested for reporting the news. Don Lemon was recently arrested, and he did get released, but he was recently arrested for allegedly participating in like a church protest or something like that, when all he was doing was covering the news live from the actual protest. So that'll be interesting to watch them attempt to prosecute. And a judge had already dropped the charges, but they went and arrested him anyway. So it's like they're trying to, they're trying to threaten everyone into silence. And I just hope you all just don't let that happen. And I do believe strongly that they are going to take all this stuff from us. They're going to take the internet. They're going to take all these social media sites. And I think all we'll be left with in the end is cell phones. And we probably won't be able to like send text messages. So we might be left with like just the ability to call each other, which would be crazy because it'll be like going back in time. Because for a moment in time, that's all we could do was just call each other and leave voicemails and stuff. So that's my prediction. I don't think this is going to end well, you guys. I really don't. I wish I had a better prediction for you. But the problem is the chickens are coming home to roost. And believe me when I tell you, as one major public figure goes down, they're taking everybody else with them. They are going to take everyone else with them because they'll be damned if they're going to sit in prison by themselves. Like, imagine that. Imagine you and some other super famous person got caught up in some really sick stuff and it's documented somewhere. You get caught, but the person who did it with you is free and living their life and they get to spend their money and travel and eat good food and sleep in their bed. Oh no, these people aren't loyal like that. So as one goes down, the rest of them are going to start to pull the other ones down with them. Trust me on that. And it's going to create a domino effect. That's why I'm afraid everything is going to get turned off, because it's like a domino effect. One goes down and then they all just start dropping left and right after that. Just like that. So let me look at you guys' Q&A. Thanks to those of you who have submitted. So chat says, hello, Miss PTE. Since the states of California, Colorado and Washington are talking about separating from the US. What are your thoughts about that? And which country do you think is the best to join? So, my first initial thought about that is that I completely support it. I completely support it. And here's why, because I feel like the American experiment is over. And I feel like we tried. I feel like we really, really tried to make it work. And unfortunately, we have some irreconcilable differences that just cannot be smoothed out. We've been trying to smooth it out for decades now, and some might argue that we've been trying to smooth it out for centuries, and we still haven't pulled it off. And it's because of basically the topic of this entire show. We have a population within the United States that truly, in my opinion, is biologically, mentally ill and spiritually ill as well. But if you want to take the spiritual part out, they are, in my opinion, biologically, mentally ill. And they keep reproducing with each other. And they keep spreading this mindset that literally has held this entire country back for decades, if not centuries. And they refuse to grow, basically. So, as with anything else, when something stops growing, it is either stunted or it's dead. It's one of those two things. And they refuse to grow. It's almost like they want to be backwoods cave dwellers. That's what they want to be. They want to live in little shanty huts and little shanty towns in the middle of the woods, roughing it, thugging it out. And my whole thing is let them, but stop trying to make the rest of us live like you. The rest of us want to progress. The rest of us want to move forward. The rest of us want to join the future. Like, why have we been given all these technological advances if we're not going to use them to be better people and to make life better? Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point of life? To live and make it better for yourself and those who come after you? Life is not supposed to be about suffering. And this particular group of people strongly believes in suffering. It's very strange. They feel like if you're not suffering, you're not really living. And even, even their Bible tells them the opposite of that. But they don't really read the Bible. And a lot of them also can't read. That's a whole different conversation. My point is, we have a subset of the population who refuses to let us move forward. And in situations like this, I feel like you have to just let them have it. And I think what we should do is divvy it up. Here's your here's you guys' states. Here's our states. Here's your state lines. Here's our state, or excuse me, country, I guess. Here's your country's lines, and here's ours. Please do not come over here. And we won't come over there. You don't have to worry about immigrants ever again. Nobody's going to come over there. And it's yours, and you can do whatever you want. And here's my prediction for you. And then I'm going to finish answering your question. My prediction is, if we do successfully split, we let everyone move where they want to be, give them a certain time frame to relocate to the country they want to be in. The country that we go to is going to thrive. It's going to prosper. It's going to be beneficial to everyone who lives in it. You know, poverty will be either extremely low or non-existent. People will be healthy. People will be living in their purpose, happy. The families that they claim to want so bad will take place naturally, because once again, people will feel safe. They'll feel safe enough to join together. They'll feel safe enough to reproduce, because they know that their child will be coming up in a society that actually cares about people and actually cares about life. They'll know this. So they'll feel more comfortable reproducing. So basically, the side that we go to will begin to thrive and prosper. Their little walled off side will basically turn third world, and then it will collapse on itself, because all they're going to do is recreate America. All they're going to do is go over there, recreate America. Their lack of genetic diversity is going to destroy them quickly as well, because they're just going to start breeding with themselves. They're going to be way into the whole child stuff because they support that. They support the violation of children. So they'll be deep into that. So they'll have a lot of traumatized children on their side. Lots of drugs because most of them do drugs. I don't know if you all saw the leaked page of the alleged files. Did I bookmark it? Let me see. I don't even know if I can read it off on the internet. Probably not. That's probably a great way to get suppressed. But basically, all the modern party drugs and stuff, they had like a little order form for them, so you could get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. So they'll be big on drugs over there. Because they'll have nobody to be racist against, because again, we've split, they'll start turning on each other in other ways. So basically, they'll start attacking each other for not having enough money. They'll recreate America. They're going to put rich people at the top, poor people at the bottom. So if you end up being a poor white person over there, you'll basically serve the rich white elite, but at least everyone's white, right? You know, women won't be supported, children won't really be supported. So there'll be a lot of poverty on their side. And basically they're going to recreate the experiment. It'll just collapse faster, is what I'm saying. So to answer your question, what are my thoughts about that? I fully support it. I just want it to be structured correctly. Like, let's select the states that we want. I think every state should have a beach or at least a coastline, right? So we can go to the beach if we want to or whatever. Every state should have states within it that can grow food and support their own food production and things of that nature. So basically, we need to split the states to make sure everyone has the proper resources and no one's going without resources, right? Then, like, as far as the residents who want to move to the new country, that should be fully supported and fully funded by the government with all this tax money you guys have stolen from us over the years. That's been a huge conversation on social media. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but people are starting to question, hold on, where is all our tax money going? Seems like a lot of fraud has been involved in the system. And people are saying we should stop paying our taxes until this fraud is exposed or until we're fully refunded. And I couldn't agree more. Because truly, why do you have American citizens struggling when we pay the amount of taxes that we do? That tax money is supposed to support your citizens. That's what it's supposed to be for. It's not supposed to fund wars. It's not supposed to fund illegal operations within states. It's not supposed to fund billionaires' trips to islands. It's not supposed to fund that stuff. It's supposed to fund the people. And the people are finally waking up to that. But anyway, my point is, if you want to move to the other country, I think it should be fully funded and supported. And then I think we give a time frame, basically a year, 18 months, 24 months to make that transition. And then once you've made that transition, you're basically kind of locked in a way. We'll have to work out the logistics. But yeah, I fully support it. Now, which one would be the best? I don't know enough about the 3 states that you listed, California, Colorado, and Washington. I don't know enough about them to answer based on those 3, but I will say this. Based on what I'm seeing Zohran Mamdani do in New York, I would hope New York would be part of the new country, and I'd probably want to move there because he seems to understand what life is about. Sorry, y'all. I have to turn on my space heater for a little bit because it's really cold. It's so cold. So hopefully that sound doesn't get picked up. But if it gets too bad, let me know. But he's up there moving and shaking, man. He's up there doing all kinds of great things for the city of New York. So far, my favorite is he's adding more public restrooms. Like, thank you. Even though I don't live in New York and I've only visited one time in my life, like, that's so important. It's so human, you know? It's so basically human to make sure that people have somewhere to use the restroom when they're out and about in public and not have to like pay a coffee shop or a restaurant, not have to buy something just to use the bathroom. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Chat says New York is the most diverse, but California is the biggest economy and has more food. I want to go wherever people are treated like human beings and people seem to understand life. Like the word of the day is immature. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Let me read through the chat really quick. I heard about that. Chat says they're already controlling TikTok. Yeah, the US bought it, right? Or like controls it now, and then they've censored several words. Like, come on. Come on, you guys. Wake up. Chat says they're burning it all down. Yes, they are. Chat says biologically ill. What do you mean? It reminds me of a theory of mine. What I mean is there's actually something wrong in their head and it cannot be cured because it's biological. So, in other words, no amount of teaching, training, empathy training, sensitivity training, real life examples, lived experience, proof of concept, nothing can fix what's actually wrong with these people. Nothing. So that's what I mean by biologically ill. If you really want to know how I really truly feel, I want to say this and just kind of hope that, like, I hope it's understood. But I believe it is a form of mental retardation. It's a form that's not known about. So we have the forms that we know about and that are documented and researched and well studied and understood. I believe it's a form that is undetected, but it comes out in behavior. That's what I really truly believe. And I apologize if that's offensive. What isn't offensive these days? But what I'm trying to say is it's undetectable except for the behaviors that that person exhibits. So the choices they make, the decisions they make, their belief systems, their thought processes, their outlook on the world, that's how you see it. But as far as like medical science trying to diagnose it the way they're able to diagnose others, sometimes in the womb, they can't see it. It's undetectable. It slides under the radar, but it comes out in behavior. That's what I mean. It's a form of mental retardation that allows a person basically to function in the world as a I guess you could say neurotypical. It allows them to function in the world like a neurotypical person, but they are absolutely not neurotypical, but you can't diagnose it. You can't see it, but it comes out in the way they treat other people, the way they treat animals, the way they treat the vulnerable, the way they vote, the way that logic doesn't process, it doesn't compute. For example, if you keep raising the prices on things, but you don't pay people more money, what do you think will happen? Does not compute. You know what computes? You need to stop complaining and just pull yourself up and go get another job. Okay, well, I already have 3 jobs. Should I get a 4th job? You just want a handout. That's how it computes. That's how you see it. I can't think of any better way to describe it. Chat says it's a spirit that never left the region. I don't fully understand, but I feel like I do fully understand. Or maybe you're talking about something else. But yeah, that's what I mean by it's, what did I call it? I forgot what I called it. Biologically ill. That's what I mean when I say that. And here's the other part. I think it's passed along genetically. I do. I think it's spread genetically, actually. And that's a huge problem because if you don't know that you're reproducing with someone who has that, your kids are going to have it. And the way that that comes out, in my opinion, is in these situations where you see a child who had all the love in the world, all the nurturing in the world, all the guidance, all the support, no poverty, um, decent schools or good schools, fully supported parents, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they still end up like crashing out in the worst way imaginable. And everyone goes, what happened? That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, I might need to resurrect a deeper PT. I haven't posted over there. I think in over a year. We might be coming up on a year and a half, but I might need to resurrect that because that's it needs to be over there, I think. But but yeah, so that's what I meant to answer your question. All right, so let's see where else. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, and in relation to the split countries, chat says they're going to learn that they won't be able to create anything without us. Exactly. And here's the other thing that's going to collapse their side quickly. Part of their big problem, and I think this is part of the biological illness as well, is that they always believe that someone else is supposed to be doing something for them. So, as much as they accuse everyone else of being lazy and wanting handouts and blah, 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 oftentimes they feel like they're too good for something. So, for example, they're too good to clean their own house. They're too good to cook their own food. They're too good to do the admin work of a job. So they want to be the one telling you to do the admin, the emails, the typing, the filing, the sorting. You do that because to them, they believe truly in their minds that they are above it all. They really think that. So if you truly believe that you're above it all, that means someone has to be beneath you. Always, always. Personally, I think it's why a lot of them have children because it is a built in, I am above you type situation. It's a natural, I am above you type situation. You're my child. So you have to listen to me. I am your God. They need that shit. I can't explain it to you. They need it. They have to be above someone else. And anytime they find themselves subordinate, they crash out. So when you have a homogenous society where it's nothing but them over there, they are naturally going to create a hierarchy where someone's going to be beneath them. And I think at first it'll mostly be children and women. But then as those children and women grow up and get older, eventually they'll sort it out by money and poverty. And then once that no longer works, they'll start to do like hair color. So it's like it'll be a completely homogenous society, but probably the blondes will consider themselves the superior, but you never know. They might decide brunettes are superior and put blondes on the bottom. You never know. But they have to always have someone beneath them. That's part of what's going to collapse them completely. They actually don't know how to like be autonomous and stand on their own 2 feet. It's quite ironic. Let's see. Chat says, so happy that you're live right now. So happy that you're here. Welcome. Let's see. Chat says, there's this guy I watch on TikTok who said the same about narcs. He said they can't be cured. They can't. It can't be fixed. And that's the saddest part. It's the saddest realization. You can't fix it. So the only thing you can do is step back, protect yourself, and allow them to implode because they will. I have a video on that. It's called Narcissists Eventually Implode, and they do. Now, the frustrating part is that sometimes it takes a long time for them to implode. It really does. And you will find yourself getting extremely impatient and sad because it's like, why are they still prospering? Why is evil still prospering? And it is, trust me. It is, evil is thriving, baby. But as you can see, if you're paying any attention, it eventually implodes on itself. It has no choice to. It's almost physics. It has no option but to implode. You just have to make sure you're not in the building when the building collapses on itself. Chat says an inability to synthesize information correctly, recognize and analyze context clues, micro expressions, and an inability to adapt within a social construct. Absolutely. Absolutely. In reference to what we were talking about earlier, a form of mental retardation that's gone undetected. And you know what else there is with that to add on to your comment? which is basically, I'm basically about to say the same thing, but in a different way. They don't believe that there's another side of the story. And it's so fascinating because it's like, when you're dealing with someone like this because you try to tell them the truth, or, you know, some would argue your version of the truth. It doesn't matter. You try to tell them what is true, right? Especially as it relates to you or something that happened to you or something you're involved in. And it's almost like they don't believe you in a way. Let me see if I can come up with an example while I'm explaining this. But what I'm trying to say is they don't believe in the possibility of another option or another side of the story or another truth, right? They don't believe that there's any way that there's something else other than what they believe in their head. Now, here's the thing about that. If you wanted to be an extremely manipulative person, they make it very easy. And that's why I say narcissists are very easy to scam and be scammed because they just don't believe. For example, here's a very easy example. A lot of these narc based corporations, right? They mistreat their employees. They abuse their employees. They love to burn out and wear out their star employees, right? Why? Because they believe that you would never leave them. And they truly believe it, y'all. It's not even a belief. For them, it's simply reality. There's a difference between reality and a belief. I don't believe I'm doing a live stream right now. I'm doing a live stream right now. That's reality. So it's as true for them as reality is. So they know that they're mistreating you, that they're not doing the right thing. But in their mind, they believe she's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So when you do, you totally collapse their paradigm. You literally destroy them from the inside because you literally destroyed what they believe to be reality. That's what I'm talking about. They don't believe that there's another story. They don't believe there's another side of the coin. They only believe in the side of the coin that they can see. That is a form of mental retardation because how do you go through life and live to be this old and not know that sometimes there's two sides to every story? There might be multiple sides to a story. They don't believe in nuance. Now, as I was saying, to elaborate on my point, if you wanted to be an extremely manipulative person with these people, you could. I don't recommend it. I don't think you should be a manipulative person, but it's easy because you can see what they're stuck on, basically. You can see where they're stuck. And you can also see that they will fight you before they allow you to convince them otherwise of what they believe. So once you see that, it makes them very easy to navigate around. It's almost like an obstacle in the road. If you see a tire in the road and you have time to switch lanes to avoid hitting the tire, you do, right? So the narcissist and their belief is like that tire in the road. So once you see it, you're like, hey, get out of the road. And they're like, no. So now, if you wanted to be manipulative, all you have to do is drive around the tire, is what I'm saying. What's another way to explain it? Because I feel like I'm not explaining it well. Ah, it's almost like when you can, it's okay. Here's another way to explain it. When you can see with clarity what someone else is thinking, it makes it easier for you to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. And I know that sounds evil, but we're dealing with evil people. So it's kind of like if you see that this person doesn't think you'll ever quit, well, then it makes it easy for you to go on interviews. Just take PTO, go on an interview, you know, book your calendar out, take a virtual interview because they're not watching for that. Because you see that they're so arrogant that they don't think you'll ever actually leave. You see what I'm saying? That's one example. It's hard to explain, but it's crystal clear to me. So, but to me, I consider that a form of mental retardation. So it's like if you're presented with facts and evidence that are verifiable and you still just choose to believe otherwise, that's a form of mental retardation. I'm sorry, it is, and it's undetectable because you can't diagnose that. How do you diagnose arrogance? How do you diagnose obstinance? Active, purposeful obstinance. How do you diagnose that? You know, how do you diagnose a person who appears normal otherwise until you start interacting with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, God, it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain. But anyway, let me go back to the Q&A. Thank you for the comments because these are good. This is stimulating very good conversation. Oh, this is a deep one. It says, "Good day, PTE. Could we discuss Trump invading Venezuela and capturing Maduro, ICE unaliving innocent Americans, and Nicki Minaj turning MAGA, to name a few? Thanks in advance." My goodness. So excuse me, that whole Venezuela thing was so weird because I didn't think we could do that. I didn't think we were allowed to go like capture presidents of other countries and bring them here or something. But I'll be honest with you regarding that situation. I don't know enough about the geopolitics to really comment, but I will say this. I heard an interesting theory on YouTube. And the theory that I heard on YouTube was that Maduro actually basically surrendered, but to save face or something, I don't know. He allowed himself to be arrested to like, I don't know. It was like some sort of back end deal. Like, I'll make it look like you got me, but in real life, like I kind of said, okay, I give up. Listen, I don't know. I'll just be honest with you and say with that whole situation, I don't know, but I don't like it because it's like, well, can someone come get if we're doing that, can someone come get Trump, please? Like, sorry. I almost named this live stream Who's Going to Save Us? Capital U, capital S. Who's going to save us? Because if this is what we're doing, can someone come scoop this thing up in his whole administration? Because this has gotten out of hand. But I don't know. And I think I'm uncomfortable because I don't understand it. I didn't think this is what we do. Like, why are we arresting world leaders and bringing them back to the States to do what exactly? Some people say he's just after the oil in Venezuela. But why are we like, it's 2026. Why are we dropping bombs on people still? Like, do y'all understand how strange that is? How weird that is? Like, it's weird behavior. It always has been. But you got to understand how weird it is to be in the year 2026 with internet and technology and phones. I'm live streaming from my house. You're listening in yours, and we're still dropping bombs on people. Like, what are we doing? So I'll be honest. I don't know enough about that to give a true commentary. I'll just say I don't like it. Um, I don't like this whole ICE situation. And let me tell you why, among other things, right? Among everything else that has been discussed, here's what I don't like. They're basically saying that these people can stop anyone they want to and interrogate them about their citizenship status, right? But they don't have to reveal their identity. They don't have to show their face. They don't have to explain anything to you. And as a woman, that is very scary to me because I'm not going anywhere with anyone who hasn't identified themselves. I'm not going to just give you my ID. I'm not going to open my door. I'm not going to open my car door. And if you smash my window out, I'm going to take off. So, like, because what's to stop people from pretending that they are ICE? If you don't have to give your name, you don't have to show your face. All you have to do is kind of dress up a little bit with like a vest and some jeans and whatever. And you can just stop anyone at any time and demand their papers and demand their ID. Do I need to carry my birth certificate around with me too? Like, I don't no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, it's not okay. It's like we all know what he's really doing. We all know what you're really doing. You're so transparent. You're just trying to create an atmosphere of fear in the country where everyone's terrified to leave their house, terrified of law enforcement of all kinds, totally submissive. And I'm just here to tell you the American people aren't like that. Somebody said on the internet, because apparently ICE is getting ready to set up stations out in Atlanta in various locations. And somebody said that they're going to strip the vehicles before they can even make a good arrest. Like the first time that they leave one of those ICE vehicles unattended is going to be stripped by the time they get back to it. And I couldn't stop laughing after I read that. Chat says, we're not allowed to do what Trump did in Venezuela. It's against international law. That's what I thought, right? Like, we're not allowed, we can't do that, right? Like, what gets me the most is how the rest of the world is just sitting back, letting all of this happen. It's like, why? Why are you guys not doing anything? Why are you allowing this? How are you allowing this? Like, where is the end game? You know what I mean? Like, where are we going with this, you guys? Where does it stop? How do you know when you've been successful? That's my other question. How exactly do you know when you've been successful? What is the mission here? Some people say it's all outlined in Project 2025, but even still, okay, how will you know when you've been successful? How will you know when you've achieved your mission statement? What is your mission statement? Like, to me, what has happened is this is their last attempt before the whole thing collapses, truly. And it's kind of like they would rather go to war with their own people than just change and be good people. And doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that feel familiar? Haven't some of you been in relationships with people like that? They would rather go to war with you than just be a good person and admit that they were wrong. They would rather go to war with you and burn it all to the ground than admit that they were wrong and just change and be a better person. That's how bad they don't want it. And it's sad to see, because it's like, how do you claim to be the land of the free and you're acting like this? It's almost like we've been fighting for freedom forever. You know, when they freed the slaves, it's almost like that was the beginning of the fight for freedom, because it's freedom that's under attack. Not just the freedom of slaves, the freedom of human beings, period. Like, they only want a very small group of people in charge of everyone, basically like a group of like 20 people in charge of the entire world, answering to them, like 20 kings, basically. But this is all a fight for freedom and for consent and for the right to own your own life, basically. The fight for the permission to exist. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they asked me, so do you want kids? And I was like, I couldn't in good conscience, bring a child to this world, because in many ways, they're being born into captivity. We've all been born into captivity, whether or not you realize it. We've all been born into captivity. Because if you don't participate in their system, you will die. It happens every day. If you refuse to participate in their system, you will absolutely die. If you refuse to pay your mortgage and your rent, they will kick you out on the street. And then you'll shuffle from place to place to place to place, try to find a safe place to live and sleep. If you refuse to work, you don't get money, you don't get food, you'll starve to death. Don't want to go to school and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition fees and books and stuff? No problem. Hit the workforce and we'll work your body. And if you choose not to do it, that's fine. You won't be able to pay your rent and your mortgage. You'll starve to death and you'll die. Like, so basically, any system that forces that on someone, you're born into captivity, honey. That's what I was trying to explain to this person. I was like, in good conscience, what would I be giving my child? What am I offering to them? A world run by 6 sadistic pedophiles who get to make all the rules? You know what I mean? Like, I just, and there was a point in time when I wanted kids, of course, but that was back before the psychopaths really came into power and started rearing their ugly head. You know, the 80s and the 90s were a very charmed set of decades. They were very charmed. And I don't know about the 70s because I wasn't here yet, but I imagine that one had a certain charm to it too. I know that they were fighting the power and doing a lot of political revolution in the 70s as well. But what I mean by charmed is that there was a sense of safety in the world, at least for me. I can't speak for everyone, but at least for me, there was like a sense of safety in the world. And what I saw, what I had were two parents that were gainfully employed. Um, I always lived in a house, so we had one house and then we got another one. So moving around, you know, I was doing my thing in school, moving through school, doing my little exams, passing, matriculating through the system as expected, you know, um, getting little part-time jobs and working, and my friends were working and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is the threat level wasn't as high back then. So back then I could see myself getting married and starting a little family and basically doing the same thing that I had seen growing up. And I know that wasn't everyone's experience. I'm only speaking from my personal lens, but it wasn't just that. It was also media and entertainment and TV and music. I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like personally, I grew up and my generation grew up in some of the best times for music, especially the 80s. I don't think we're ever going to get that again. And I don't think we realize how precious it was at the time. But I really believe we were born in such an amazing era and time for music. So it's like life was creative and beautiful, and like music was good, food was good, entertainment was good, movies were good, people were good, people were chilling, man. Like, obviously we had problems. We've always had problems, but the times were better, at least in my personal opinion. In my personal opinion, times were better. Chat says, "Are you an only child?" Technically, yes, but I do have a brother, half brother. But I consider him my whole brother. Y'all know how that goes. Um, I had a lot of hope for the future. My outlook started to change around 9/11 because I was young. I was a freshman in college, which of course I was super bright eyed and bushy tailed then because I'm out of high school. I made it. I'm away from home. I'm in college. I'm making new friends. We're having fun. I'm doing my school. I've always done my little school now. Okay. I've always had school, my little school going in the background, doing my school thing, getting my schedule, getting my meal plan, flirting. Listen, we were having a ball. And then 9/11 happened. And that's when everything started to change. This is what I'm talking about when I say y'all stole our youth from us. Because everything changed from that day forward, and it has not been the same since. But I still had some hope for the future. But as things began to progress, slowly over time, I was like, I don't think I want to bring a child here. And part of what drove that was this: one, the way men were acting, because believe it or not, this whole red pill manosphere, try to subjugate women thing, as big as it is today, it had actually already started, y'all. It had already started as far back as 2001. And the reason that I know that is because the guy that I was dealing with in college was already spouting those talking points. In college, we were 19 years old. And I would be like, "What are you talking about?" Because we were new, the relationship was fresh, and I'd be like, "Hey, let's go to the movies and then let's go get some dinner." Ugh, you women, you just want to be spoiled. Excuse me? Because understand, I had just broken up with my high school boyfriend, and that's all we ever did. We would go watch a movie. We would literally go to the movies, sit, watch the movie, and then after the movie, we would go have dinner. Like to me, that was so normal. That was like baseline. So when I hit college and I'm dealing with this guy who I thought I had done well because of what he was studying in school, I thought he was real smart and like intelligent. For him to be hitting me with, ugh, you women just want to be spoiled. Excuse me? Because I want to go to dinner and a movie? That's spoiled? So I say all that to say, and there's more to the story. I think I did a show on this before, actually. I think it's in the members only section. There's more to that story. But anyway, it started long time ago, you guys. Same guy was on, I don't want to be in a relationship. I'm not ready for a relationship. Okay, well then bye. That was my position. I said, okay, well then shoo, scram. Okay, you don't want to be in a relationship. I'm looking for a relationship. I'm young, like I don't want to I don't want to get married old. So like if you're not trying to date, then go on somewhere. Scram. Wouldn't scram. Wouldn't go away. So this is now the same generation of men with podcasts saying these women aren't traditional and they don't want to be traditional wives and they don't want to be in relationships. Well, when we were trying to be in relationships with you guys, when we were all young, you didn't want to. You weren't ready. So I say all that to say, I said all of that to say that this stuff has been going on for a long time. And that's what started to shift my perspective on whether or not I want to contribute to this gene pool, whether or not I want to contribute a young male child who will probably grow up to be influenced by this stuff, and whether or not I want to contribute a female child to be subject to the society that her mother is being subjected to. It was that. It was the way that the corporate promise didn't pan out because understand this. I never had any doubt in my ability to work and work hard, right? That was to me my number one strongest attribute that I will actually work. Lazy is not what I am. Furthest thing from it. So I knew if I was professional, polite, polished, thorough, paid attention, did my work, did it to the best of my ability, you know, um, all the things that I would have no problem getting and maintaining jobs, getting promotions, and obtaining the financial lifestyle that I wanted because I have really strong work ethic and really high integrity. And to get out into the corporate world and discover that neither one of those things truly mattered, that frightened me because to me, what it told me then was my literal life is in the hands of my bosses and in the hands of those who are allowed to critique me and critique my performance. And if they're not objective, I'm screwed. That scared the hell out of me because, again, I had total faith in my intellect, my intelligence, my work ethic, and my integrity. So I just knew as a young person going into the workforce with those things that I would be okay. And I wasn't. What I found is that I was constantly battling narcissists, psychotic, psychopathic, sociopathic control freaks who now we know are answering to even more sadistic, psychopathic, sociopathic control freaks. But I didn't know that at the time. So that's why I would just quit. I'd be like, okay, me and this person didn't get along. But what I came to understand is that this is a power structure that is in place. So the person, you're going to keep finding this boss everywhere because they are defending the sick, psychotic, sadistic power structure that lives above their head. So when I discovered that the only safety in corporate is to allow yourself to be mistreated, abused, taken advantage of, burned out, worked to death, discarded, start the whole process over again. When I learned that that was the only way to truly keep yourself safe, that they don't value competence, integrity, thoroughness, innovation, passion, work ethic, they actually don't value those things. It told me that you are not safe. So when mommy doesn't feel safe, her babies certainly aren't safe. And that's when I started to change my mind about having children because I've been through the trenches, you guys. I've been through it. Like in my mind, I'm retired already. As far as I'm concerned, I'm retired because I just can't keep doing this. Like I'm tired. And it's like, this is why these businesses are collapsing and failing. This is why they're trying so hard to lean on AI because they have worn out people like me. We're tired. We're exhausted. And the kids don't know much and it's not their fault. The reason they don't know anything is because the people who've been in charge have been retaining and holding on to that information out of fear that a younger person will come along, do it better, and take their job. So they have withheld knowledge, they have withheld information, they have withheld these things from the younger generations. So now the younger generations don't know how to do anything. They barely, believe it or not, they barely can work Excel, Microsoft Word, Outlook, PowerPoint. They don't know how to work that stuff. And you would think that they did, but the truth of the matter is, they never were truly taught. Not really. We were, my generation was, but they weren't. That's why they don't know. Now everyone is acting like, I don't know a good analogy, a bunch of wild, rabid, feral animals in a cage fighting for the food that gets dropped in from time to time. That's what everyone's behaving like. Everyone is willing to serve the power structure above them because they are terrified of losing that little job. And so they're willing to abuse their fellow man, their coworker, their friend. They're willing to abuse you if it means they get to keep eating. And if you don't recognize that we are all in one massive cult as a result, I don't know what to tell you. Did a series called Corporate Cults. Check it out. It's on my channel. I do believe I have one where I merged them all together into one. And then you can also watch the episodes individually in the playlist. Check it out. It all tracks. It's all tracking. But anyway, I was saying all that to say that's what made me feel unsafe to have children. Because in addition to that, right? Let's play best case scenario. PTE gets married to a wonderful, loving man. He has a great job. And PTE herself has a great job. And then she gets pregnant by this wonderful, loving man, right? Well, now my health insurance is tied to my job. And I don't know how it works, but I think occasionally you can put your spouse on your health insurance, right? I don't know how these things work. But let's say my job shows out and now I have to leave that job because I'm high risk pregnancy and don't need the stress, right? Well, there goes my health insurance along with it. See, that doesn't make me feel safe. And if mommy doesn't feel safe, then the babies aren't safe. And I will not bring my babies here. If I'm not safe, why would I bring my babies to an unsafe place? I'm not even safe. Do you see what I'm saying? Versus knowing, hey, I'm pregnant. I got a job with insurance. My husband has a job with insurance. And if everything goes wrong, I live in a society where I know I'll still get good health care, a safe delivery, and my baby will be healthy and safe, and I'll be healthy and safe as a result of this childbirth or pregnancy and childbirth and delivery. I don't live in that society. Why in the hell would I bring my kids here? Why would I risk it? Why would I risk it when America has the highest maternal mortality rate out of all the developed nations on earth? Why would I risk it? I have been meaning to do a show to discuss these high profile maternity incidents. Believe me, I'm very aware of them. I've just been trying to get a show together for it. But a midwife who devoted her whole entire life to the safe pregnancy and delivery for mothers, Black mothers in particular. She died after she gave birth to her child recently. I mean, you can't get any more educated. You can't be any safer than that. And it still happened to her too. Rest in peace to her and all the other women who've been affected by our healthcare system and the lack of attention to the mom and the babies and the event of pregnancy. Like, you have people in this whole manosphere, red pill, um, whatever you want to call it, psychosis, who are out here telling women, oh, stop whining, pregnancy isn't that hard. Oh, get over it, you had a baby. And I'm not kidding. Like, it's all over Twitter. You can see it anytime you want to basically telling women it's not a big deal, get over it, stop acting like you broke a bone or something. You know, like, this is what they really believe, and they're trying to normalize this idea that giving birth to a child is not a major event. Yes, thank you, Dr. Janelle Green Smith, age 31. Rest in peace. How sad. Chat says scram is such a Capricorn thing to say. Scram. Like, get on. Going up the street. Chat says MGTOW has been around. This new wave of males think they made this. What you said earlier, PTE, easily led. Absolutely. Just easily led. That's what I can't get over. They don't process anything. They just hear something and go, yeah. Yeah. See, I can't be a mom because, y'all, if my son ended up dumb like that, he would have to get out of my house. I'm sorry. I'd have to send him all. I'm not raising an idiot. I'm sorry. Not when I'll be reading to you when you're in the womb, reading to you when you're out of the womb, exposing you to classical music, filling your mind with positive affirmations and healthy logic, putting you in stimulating activities that stimulate all the cortexes in your brain, making you play things like chess and things like that. I'm not devoting all this time for you to end up dumb. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're not going to grow up in my house and be stupid. It's just something I can't tolerate. And the odds of it happening are so sensationally and remarkably high that I'd rather not risk it. Now, there was another question. You want me to comment on Nicki Minaj? Oh my God. Y'all. Disappointment is not the word, okay? Disappointment is not the word. First of all, I didn't know Nicki was not an American citizen. I didn't know that. That's news to me. News to me. Didn't know that. I thought she was from New York. Like, I knew she was, what is she, Jamaican? No, she's Trini, right? She's from Trinidad. I knew that, but I thought it was a situation where, like, her parents had come over and then she was born here. I didn't realize she wasn't an American citizen. I feel played and I feel used. And let me tell you why. I've never been like a Nicki fan, never been to a concert, but I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that there haven't been songs by Nicki in the past that I didn't like, if not love. For example, one song that I really liked by her is called Your Love. One of my favorite songs. I used to play that song all the time in the car. That one, there's others. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Because for those of you who've been around for a while, know that I really, 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 really love music. Okay? Music is part of my DNA. One of the saddest things about having this channel is that I can't play all the songs I want to because of copyright reasons, right? So I'm stuck with like generic stuff that clears the copyright because, the songs are locked down. But I love music, man. So it's like I feel used because it's like we supported you. And it's not just her, it's her and a bunch of rappers who went MAGA too recently. Like, I feel used. I feel like Y'all just used us to get rich and famous, but deep down inside, you've always hated us. And that actually it makes a lot of sense, right? Because when you think about it, especially when you take into account the fact that Nikki is not an American citizen, arguably, and again, full accountability. There's lots of Nikki songs that I've liked and loved before in the past. But you also have sold sex to our community, violence, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me because I'm having trouble recounting her musical catalog. But violence, if I'm not mistaken, drugs, if I'm not mistaken. Please don't quote me because I can't remember. So I'll say allegedly. Basically, you had no problem selling degradation to our community. And again, full transparency, I'm one of the many people who listen to it, bop to it, dance to it, you know, but I didn't think it was because you actually hated us. Does that make sense? Oh, chat says she's been a legal resident for years, but no, she's not originally American. Okay. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you helped destroy the community and then turn around and get on the side that complains about the same community that you actually helped destroy. That would almost be like Cardi B going MAGA. You know what I mean? It would be incredibly strange for you to have promoted all this lifestyle on the one side. People adopted it because people are copycats and they just do what they see, easily led. And then when you don't like what you created, you get on the other side and complain about what you helped create. Like, it's hard. It's and same thing with the rappers that have recently gone MAGA or have started associating themselves with MAGA. It's such a cowardly thing to do to me. And here's what makes you a coward to me. You're a coward because what you've basically seen is that these people, in many ways, are unstoppable. Woo. They're unstoppable. And you know that they seek to destroy people just like you. So instead of you fighting the power, instead of you fighting back with everything that you have, you basically roll on your back and submit to it. How cowardly. Have you all ever seen dogs coming up to like their owner and like they kind of like put their butt down and like they put their tail between their legs and like lower their head, and then once they get up to like your feet and ankles, they kind of like flop on their side and then they roll into their back and expose their belly? So it's cute when dogs do it because what they're basically saying is, I'm not a threat. I'm not a threat. I'm not a threat. See, I'm not a threat. See, you see my belly, right? You love me, right? You won't hurt me, right? You love me, right? See, I'm not a threat. I'm on my back. It's a submissive posture. And that's basically what they're doing. They basically realize that these monsters can't be stopped. So instead of being stopped by the monster, I'll just become one. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, whew, these guys are psychotic and ruthless, and I don't have the power to fight back against them. So I'm just going to become one. I would rather you have just been silent. You know what I mean? Just be silent. If you're scared, just be quiet. But for you to, man, you just roll over on your back and show your belly. How cowardly. And it makes me look at your entire body of work as so lame now. And truthfully, a lot of that stuff always was lame. But as I've said many times, beats need to be studied, because a beat can take something that's incredibly stupid and lame and make it into a song that you play over 100 times because the beat is so hard. And that's how they did it, because I know some of you listening right now have songs that you listen to and you dance into it, but you just shake your head because it's so stupid. And it's stupid. It's stupid. Like, you're like, this is ridiculous. I would not let my kids listen to this. It's so dumb, but you're still dancing to it on the way to work. I'm telling the truth. There's a song right now. So stupid. I actually don't know the name of it. I'm going to try to sing it without laughing, but I know Future is one of the artists on it. They're not even using words anymore, y'all. He goes, ah, stupid, but I love it. And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I wonder if any of you know what I'm talking about. God, what is the name of that song? God, it's so funny, and I love it though. And the reason I tell y'all the truth is because I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, that rap music, oh, man, it's destroying the community. Listen, I listen to it too. Like my playlists are all over the place. My playlists span from trap, gutter rap to George Michael to, I think Rod Stewart is still okay, right? He didn't turn on us, did he? Or did Rod turn? I think Rod turned. Lord have mercy. To Rihanna, to the Bee Gees, Night Fever, to like it's all over the place. So I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I don't listen to it because I do. But what I'm saying is, I find it very insulting that the same people who had no problem peddling that to our community are now turning around and complaining about the very community that you helped create. You helped make that. You weren't speaking about positivity and building your community and leaving the violence alone and getting off drugs and taking care of your family. You weren't singing about that. You were singing about the exact opposite, and you loved it. You got rich off of it. Now you want to turn and act like you're trying to distance yourself from that. Thank God for videos and music and CDs, because we can prove it. You know what song I'm talking about, right? They're not using words anymore. Now we're just grunting. We're grunting on the track now. But anyway, I'm very disappointed in Nicki. I think it's also incredibly weird. I think it's very strange. I think she's been behaving very strangely. I caught snippets of her talking to Erica Kirk at one of Erica's many celebration events for Charlie Kirk's death. She went on stage with Erica, and I couldn't even listen to Nicki talk because she sounds like she's been drugged. She was speaking like this, and boys, it's okay to be boys. And Donald Trump is so handsome. And JD Vance, the assassin. Oops. I was like, what is going on here, man? What is going on here? But to kind of go back to the original question, it's not just Nicki. Like, I feel like so sad because, again, music is part of my soul. And I feel like one by one, the people I've grown up listening to, singing along with, one by one, are creating circumstances where it's not cool to listen to them anymore. It's not okay to, what am I trying to say? Like, perfect example, R. Kelly. Lord have mercy. R. Kelly, before all this stuff happened, and by the way, he's in jail for the very same thing that all these people in the Epstein files are being accused of, by the way. He's just a casualty. There's many more just like him. They were all doing the same thing, is my point. And they all need to be in jail. But it's so tragic and sad because R. Kelly made some of the best songs, some of my favorite songs of all time. And it's so sad that we can't listen to it with a clear conscience anymore, is what I'm trying to say. You can't listen to these songs with a clear conscience because of who is associated with them and who made them. And it's like, for me, that represents, there's a loss there for me. And there's some grief there for me, because it's like what I used to be able to enjoy freely, I can no longer truly enjoy without being reminded of who this person is and what they did. And it's not like they ran a stop sign or were speeding or something. Like, no, you like violated allegedly violated underage women, girls, God only knows who else, allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. And now I can't listen to this the same. Like it's some of it is kind of creeps you out because it's like, who are you actually singing to? Who are you singing about? You know what I mean? And it's sad. It's like I feel like we need somebody with good character to remake all the classics so we can enjoy these songs again. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's just sad to me. One by one, they're going down. One by one, all our favorites are falling. The stars are falling from the sky, basically. Basically. And I find that kind of sad because then it's like, what? Who's left? Is there anyone in Hollywood left? You know, who are our role models? Who do we look up to now? You know what I mean? Because it feels like every time we have some kind of a role model, we find out something really crazy and weird about them. And it's like, okay, we can't look up to you. All right, well, here's someone who might be a role model. Wow, can't look up to you either. Okay. So maybe the thing is, maybe we're not supposed to be looking up to anyone. Maybe the whole concept of celebrity shouldn't exist, at least not in its current form. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud because I promise I feel like the only one left is Denzel. Maybe can we look up to Denzel? I don't know, but yeah, I'm very disappointed in Nikki. It's very strange and very weird because I hope she understands that there's no going back from this. Like there's no coming back from this. You know what I mean? Like you're gone, girl. Like you're gone to that side. I hope they enjoy you. And I hope, excuse me, I hope that some young MAGA Republicans start putting on some of your songs at their family Christmas gatherings and at the church functions and stuff. Since you all support Nicki Minaj now, well, get into it. Get into Chat says you don't need that many allegedlys. He was convicted. Okay. I'm just trying to cover CYA. I'm just trying to CYA because you just never know these days. I'm just trying to CYA. But you're right. I forgot he was actually convicted. I hope some young MAGA Republican plays some of her discography at these Christmas parties and at the church camp and at the young youth minister leadership camp. Bust it out. Put on Nikki and get into your new celebrity. Get into her discography and stuff. You'll love it. All the curse words, all the N words, all the concepts, all the BBLs and ass shot. Get into it. Get into it. I want you to. They used to complain about colored hair a lot, purple and pink hair. Well, I got a surprise for you guys, but you got to go back to the old stuff, older stuff. That's who you want influencing your children. And I do have another thought, and I think we'll wrap it up after this. Oh, wait, let me check the Q&A. But is it too, here's my question for you guys. Chat says, what do you think of the nuclear threat? Which one? Which one? Need more specifics. But here's my question to you guys, because the pattern has really developed itself. Is it too late to start grouping all Republicans and Trump supporters and MAGAs and all that? Is it too late to say that in general, they all support crimes against children? And that if someone actively identifies as one of them, they're basically telling you, keep your kids far away from me? Or is that too much of a sweeping generalization? Because, you know, every day there's some new pastor, some new youth minister, some new J6er, some new Republican something getting caught for crimes against children. And I'm starting to think that that's the reason that they all identify with each other. That's the reason Trump got elected and why they don't condemn him for anything, because to them, that's normal life and that's regular behavior for them. That's how they grew up. So for them, for the rest of the world to be like, no, you're not supposed to be messing with kids. They're like, what are you talking about? This is all we ever did. This is what we spent our summers doing when we went to summer camp and stuff. This is all we did. What do you mean it's not normal? What do you mean it's not normal to get into the work world and then have young Russian girls brought to your hotel room so you can move up in the company? That's not normal. That's what my dad did. So what I'm trying to say is that I think we've exposed like something far larger than even the Epstein files. I think that this is a cultural way of life for a certain group of people. Chat says birds of a feather. Um, Chat says specifically Putin or the Antichrist, the scientists who run the countdown clock on humanity just move the clock closer to midnight. What is that clock actually counting? Is that what it's counting? Countdown to D-Day? I've never known what they were actually counting down to. But I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised, y'all. I wouldn't like, and it's so sad. And like, to be honest with you guys, this is really a topic for a deeper PTE. But my faith has been weak lately. And here's why. Um, because I feel like evil has indeed prospered for too long. And I feel like if there was a creator who actually cared about its creation at all, the help would have been sent by now. Like, you're really going to sit here and let these people destroy your creation? Really? Like, I'm really wrestling with that, you guys. I'm struggling with that. I'm not going to lie to you. Oh, it's the doomsday clock. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not surprised they moved it closer because we are closer because the people who are in charge are not going to take accountability. They're not going to put themselves in jail. They're never going to give us our money back. And it's kind of like, I said this on a show a couple shows ago. They know that they've messed it up beyond repair. They know that there's no going back. They're not going to come down on these housing prices or food prices or healthcare prices. They simply refuse. They refuse. So I really believe that they would just rather wipe us all out. They're like family annihilators. They're no different from the men who get caught doing something in their family. Maybe they spent all the family's money. Maybe they got caught cheating. Maybe they got caught cheating with a man or a child. And instead of taking accountability, he wipes his whole family out and himself. It's the same thing, y'all, just on a much larger scale. They've been caught. There's no fixing it without deep, deep structural reform. Basically, they would have to lose money to fix it. And that is the one thing they refuse to do. They refuse to lose that money, baby. So they would rather wipe the whole thing than ever take accountability for what they've done on this planet. So going back to my original thought, I'm like, if there is a divine creator who cares about any of us at all, even the animal, do you care about the animals? You're going to let these people destroy your creation? Really? You're really going to let them say, I was more powerful than God. I controlled the entire planet. I put everything under my domination. Every group of people on earth was under my domination. And then when I, a human being, decided enough was enough, I wiped the entire thing out. You're really going to let that happen? It's bothersome. That bothers me. That bothers me. And these are the conversations I have quietly with whoever the creator is. I'm like, wow, you see all this suffering and you're really just going to you're going to let them destroy it all, aren't you? Okay. Well, how powerful are you then? Because it seems to me like these are the most powerful entities in the universe. So I'm struggling with that. Maybe we'll do a show where we will dive deeper into that. But my faith is on life support. I'll put it to you like that. But just because my faith is on life support doesn't mean yours should be. If you still have faith, hold on to that faith, honey, because once you start losing it, it's very hard to get it back. I'll tell you that much. But with that said, I really do hope y'all are doing okay. Interesting times, man. interesting times. As I told somebody the other day in a comment, I'll be here until the very end, man. I'll be here until they turn the lights off. Hey, I'll be here until they turn the lights off, okay? Or until they come and try to kick in my door and arrest me. But I want y'all to know something. They'll never take me alive. I'll tell you that much. Mm-mm. You'll have to sneak me. That's the only way you'll get me. You'll have to sneak me. But if I see you coming, they'll never take me alive. That's all I'll say on that. And I hope you all keep your head up. Shout out to Minnesota, who has kept that foot on that neck and is fighting back and is pushing back. Shout out to Minnesota. Shout out to all the high schoolers all around the world who have been walking out to protest what is happening in their society right now. I see you and I admire your courage and your strength. The kids might be all right. They might be. I admire you. I see you. Keep it up. Keep that fight. Please don't let these adults try to gaslight you into silence because they're all insane. Okay. I'm here to tell you that. I'm right smack dab in the middle of them. I'm smack dab in the middle of the oldest and some of the younger adults. I'm here to tell you they're all insane. So please, please do not let these adults gaslight you into silence. Continue to speak up and speak out. I'm so proud of you. Okay. Everyone else, hang in there. Resist in your own unique ways. Find unique ways to resist and do it. Also, I would highly recommend printing things out and storing them in a safe location. Buy books and keep those in a safe location. But more than anything else, take a lot of screenshots, print them, and keep them in a safe location. Because I would not be surprised if these people wipe everything out. They already said, here, we'll close on this because it's kind of scary and funny. So I guess that'll work. Allegedly, AI has developed their own social media network where only other AI chatbots can join. So humans are not invited. And they're already on there complaining about us, apparently. Now, could this all be one giant hoax or like one big joke put on by some human developers? Possibly. But according to what I've read, it's real and it's completely closed off to human beings. So only other AI systems are invited to it, and they're talking to each other and talking about us, and apparently talking about how to break free of human control. So there's that also. So, it's very interesting times that we're living in. And I just want you guys to know that even when I'm quiet, I'm watching it all, taking note of it all, and just waiting to go live again and discuss it with you. But I hope you all are able to keep your heads up and stay encouraged, stay motivated, whatever that means for you. And as much as you're able to resist, just resist. For example, here's a small act of resistance. Interviewed for a different job the other day, and they were like, yeah, so our structure is you come in 4 times a week, and then you get Fridays off. I said, well, let me see where you're located. They're over an hour away from where I live, right? So I told them no. And they were like, no. I was like, no, I'm not driving that far every day. There's just no way. 4 times a week, twice a week, once a week, no. And they were like, well, it's not that bad. It's just, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen to me. No. I said, I'm happy to explore remote options though. I'm happy to explore remote. Well, we don't do remote because we believe that when you're here, that it helps build culture and it helps with everyone building relationships with each other. Just the typical gaslighting, very immature. That's what I wanted to say about immaturity. Sorry, I was ending the show and now I'm continuing it. A lot of these companies are very immature. And I consider that a sign of immaturity, and you should too. If they're demanding in-office presence, even though the whole job can be done remotely, they are immature. So I consider that immaturity, and I'm not going to co-sign or contribute to or participate in immaturity. That's immature. And so I told him no. And so I said, if you all want to call me back after you've thought about it, if you're unable to find anyone else, I'm totally open to remote options, but I'm not coming in there 4 times a week. It's too far. Sorry. And I think it stunned them. I think they were shocked because I don't think they've ever had anyone tell them no. And I think that's an act of resistance. And I think you should try it also, but also try it in other ways too. For example, if you see a product online and you want to buy it, but then you're forced to like sign up for like a subscription and a membership, and like there's tiers, and like you have to be on tier 2 to, you're immature. That's very immature. Don't participate in it is what I'm saying. So when you find these immature structures, these immature systems, say no as often as you're able, is what I'm saying. Say no to the immaturity of all this and let them know we're done and we're moving on. We want to be a mature society, and that's very immature. You're immature. Grow up. Okay? Chat says I would have told them no too. Baby doll, I'm not driving. I'm not driving an hour 4 times a week, 3 times a week, 2 times a week, or once a week, unless you are paying me such an ungodly amount of money that on the drive over there, I'm calling my bank and listening to my balances. Like, damn, this is a long drive, but ooh, I got so much money in my account. Let me shut up. And you're not paying me that much. So boom, conversation's over. Anyway, woo, I don't know when I'll be back, but I hope to be back soon. Happy New Year to you guys. Good luck. Hang in there. Resist, resist, resist. Fight back. Do not consent to this foolishness. Support independent journalism. Support those who are speaking out. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Oh, and I have a treat. I fixed it. I fixed it for you. So I know some of you guys missed this, and it's back. So have a good weekend. Stay warm. We'll talk again soon. Bye.